YouTube, we are live, and it is I, your host, Conrad Cushman. This is episode 5 of Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a wrestling show hosted by a fan for the fans. And tonight I have two special guests with me. But before I get to them, I want to give a special shout out to the Solid Monster. He put out some recent bad news on his podcast, and I wanted to just let him know that he inspired me to do my own podcast. And we're pulling for you. Keep hope alive, brother. Just wanted to send that out to you. But we got two special guests tonight on the show. Our first guest is Greg, Doc G from PM Dawn. First returning guest, Doc G. What's going on, sir?
Hey man, I'm just I'm as shell shocked as everybody else, and last night was really bugged out. I fell asleep with my 3-year-old on my lap. And we kind of cried ourselves to sleep because there was nothing more horrific than what the hell I saw. You know what I mean? I saw a good dude end his career before he wanted to.
We'll get to that, Greg. Also, our other guest is Josh Mason, a.k.a. we will call him Rez tonight. Rez, say what's up to the people.
What's up, guys? It's Resna, Rez for short. Omega Rez, if you know me on social networks and all that stuff. Glad to be here.
All right, guys. Well, let's get right into it. We're not going to waste any time. Our first topic for tonight is going to be for Monday Night Raw. Contract signing. Greg, I'm going to start with you here for it. What did you think of the contract signing with Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose?
I hate to sound like I don't want to be the Simon Cowell of this panel, but it was the most ghastly contract signing I have ever seen in the history of World Wrestling Entertainment. I mean, I'm sick of this thing between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. I mean, like, every time they're on camera together, it feels like the Bro Tater Chip commercial with Geico. Enough already. Enough.
So you're not feeling the bromance. Rez, what do you think of Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns? Are you feeling the dynamics of those guys working together, or?
First off, I'm going to just say that impersonation was spot on, Greg. But I'm liking the whole Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose thing. It makes sense for them to still be a group when Rollins turned their back on them. But as far as the signing, I think the signing was good. It got me hyped a little bit. I kind of like this thing Dean Ambrose is doing, where he's getting in Brock Lesnar's face, showing no fear. I feel like Roman Reigns is just kind of there in the background, and it's more focused on Brock Lesnar than Roman. But everything's good. I liked how Stephanie, she was talking about the contract, and then Ambrose interrupted, and then Stephanie was going over it again, and then Roman Reigns interrupted. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, that's how I stand.
Well, the first match that kicked off the show was Dolph Ziggler defeating Kevin Owens in a pretty good match overall. I liked the match. I don't know if there's hope for Dolph Ziggler, or if this is just something for Owens to do in between time to get to WrestleMania. Greg, Doc G, what are you thinking, man? What do you think's next for Dolph Ziggler? Is he on the bigger and better things, or is he stuck in a rut here with Kevin Owens?
I think Dolph Ziggler is on the bigger and better things, like Saturday Night Live or something. I'm so sick of Dolph Ziggler being underrated and misused. I feel like Dolph Ziggler is the white Shelton Benjamin. Only he can actually talk, And I don't know if it's because he's probably going to be the next one to have to leave because of concussions, And he should have been the world heavyweight champion last year. And they fumbled the ball. And I'm sick of people comparing him to Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels wishes he was that type of an athlete. You know, this is a new breed. And you know, I got love for Shawn Michaels. I got the picture with him on my Instagram. We talk about a new breed of athlete. They are completely misusing their roster. And
Oh,
it's frustrating me. I'm not just a fan, I'm a shareholder now. And I feel like Ryback and Dolph Ziggler are the white versions of Special Delivery Jones. Seriously. And it hurts me to the core. Yeah, I took it there, and I'm the only one that could take it there probably on this panel. But Dolph Ziggler and Ryback are being converted into the Caucasian Special Delivery Joneses of the World Wrestling Entertainment circus. And I feel like if they stopped and used some common sense, these guys could carry them and make WrestleMania 32. Because WrestleMania 32 is looking like trash to me right now.
I agree with what you're saying, but I'm going to pose something a little bit to the contrary here about Dolph Ziggler. And I mean this in no disrespectful way. I love Dolph Ziggler as an athlete and as a wrestler, but maybe the problem is
a guy who banged Amy Schumer for a year. Just want to put that out there.
He has a lot of people on his hit list, we'll call it. But Dolph Ziggler, I think, has he's opened up a lot of issues by saying things, concussions, different things like that. And I'm starting to feel like, and I don't know if this is because of WWE, I don't care. Is that bad to say? Like, it's hard for me to care about Dolph Ziggler. Why care when this guy's been beaten to death? You gave him some big wins and you never did anything with him. And I thought he was a tremendous talent, and he's one of those guys who should be up there, but he's not. So I don't know if, like, to say he's better than Shawn Michaels, I don't see the psychology in his matches to say that at all, but I do think that correction, you said he was a better athlete. So I will agree with that. He is a better athlete than Shawn Michaels. We won't know because Shawn limited himself in his abilities with some of the things he did back then when he was a young man. But, Rez, I want your thoughts on it. What do you think about Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens feud? I mean, is this a rut?
all right, I'll comment on the Kevin Owens Ziggler, but I'll also comment on Dolph Ziggler himself. The feud, I don't know. It could be better. The match last night, I see Ziggler as more of a face, for that matchup. And he is a face. But for him to win off the dirty pin was just kind of out of place for me. I felt like if anyone should have won on a dirty pin, it should have been Kevin Owens. I do like, though, that Kevin Owens was talking a bunch of trash and, just all the smack talk during the match. And I like how he dominated the early goings, which he should. That's kind of like how his character is. But going on to Ziggler now, I think Ziggler is a phenomenal athlete. He definitely has shown that he can go the distance. He can cut good promos. Like if you've seen those ones where he's backstage and he's venting, how he should be, in the main event. If you've seen those promos, then you know what I'm talking about. The dude can talk, but as far as like in-ring stuff, he can back up what he's saying. I just feel like when he became Dolph Ziggler, I think it was stupid to call him Dolph Ziggler. For me, I can't really take someone serious when they call themselves Dolph Ziggler. That name is just silly to me. It never stuck with me. I hated it. I still do. But other than that gripe, I think he's pretty good as is. Just really underused. Like if you go back to the last Survivor Series, when he was the sole survivor, and he took on the Authorities team, and he didn't want to go down. Good thing Sting stepped in, but he's shown that he's willing to lay it all on the line. And there's just nothing else but good promos, good in-ring work. Just the name's stupid to me.
Greg, what were you gonna say? I saw you wanted to interject there.
Well, I'm trying to not talk over people, because I have a massive overbite, and it's prone to be hurtful to the program, and I apologize. Shout to my man Bala. He's not here today, but I would love to have Bala in the mix with my man Omega because they're good dudes. But what I'm going to do is respect you, Omega, and your vision. But what I would say is this. Give the man props. He's come a long way since the Spirit Squad, okay?
Definitely.
And he has been a victim of creative, much like Ryback and a couple of the other dudes that are wasting away. Like, what the hell are they doing with Bray Wyatt, and why doesn't he have the strap around him, I mean, we all know that Blackjack Mulligan is possibly on his deathbed. What better way to show respect to Blackjack Mulligan and ease their pain but to get them back to work and put the strap on this kid, because they should have did it 2 years ago. All right? Bray Wyatt, they need to stop trying to make him a new version of The Undertaker, and I said this last time I was there, they need to make him who he is. But to go back to the Dolph thing, I guess he was tall in shape with long blonde hair. It goes like a shag haircut from the 80s. So they think of Dolph Lundgren and Rocky IV and go, your name is Dolph. And remember, he was supposed to be Crocodile Dundee on the next level. That's why they came up with the stupid Ziggler name. I mean, and since he hasn't gotten a side deal to endorse the Subaru Outback, I think it's ridiculous, but at the same time, it's his name. So if he comes out and goes, my name is Leonard, or whatever his real name is, because I make it my business since I'm 43 years old not to wiki people to death. Because if I run into them, I don't want to tell them things about themselves that they haven't told me yet. So I don't know his real name. All I know is that he's banged Nikki Bella and Amy Schumer. He's my hero. He should be all of your heroes too. Okay? He showed the world.
Dolph's hit list is awfully high. We're going to move on to the next segment here. I'm going to try and skip through some of these that I thought were okay. I thought this was an okay match. Charlotte defeats Alicia Fox. Basically, we're hearing of Alicia Fox possibly getting a push, being a veteran diva. All right, I know what Greg thinks of it. Rez, do you have anything on this match?
I think Alicia Fox hasn't really done anything in a long time, and it just seemed like filler that Charlotte was going to win. It was a no-brainer. Fox has shown that she has some ability, but it's just all Charlotte right now. There's no doubt in my mind that Fox was going to lose.
Absolutely. We'll go into the next segment. Now, this I actually liked. The Miz and Y2J, it was the Miz TV / highlight reel segment. I thought this was great. It started off as Miz TV, and I want to say Miz the best heel at doing his job. He actually understands what he's supposed to do, and he actually gets the job accomplished. And Jericho could play either role very well. Greg, what did you think? Did you like that segment?
First, before we get into that segment, you got to let me speak on what my man said about the whole female thing, all right? Because I refuse to call them divas, and I won't anymore. It's dated. It's stupid.
I agree.
Alicia Fox, if you saw the podcast I did in Fayetteville, talk about Kenan Thompson on SNL, certain black people in comfortable positions are living proof that we have overcome. Okay? Because they should have been fired years ago. Okay? There's a list of black people that should have been fired and haven't. And Alicia Fox should have been, future endeavored 2 years ago. Okay? I'm just going to go there. Alicia Fox hanging out with the Bellas is stupid. Okay? When you look at characters like Jazz, who is one of the most vicious, mean, nasty WWE Women's Champions in history, who doesn't get the props, should be in the Hall of Fame for how she obliterated Trish Stratus, Victoria, okay? And it's omitted for whatever reason. And then you have Alicia Fox, bony as hell, all right? She looks like Dwayne from What's Happening in Drag. And it's just not cool to me. You know, I knew she wasn't going to win that match. And the other thing that bothers me, and I know people will hate me for it, and I don't want to damage your show, but clearly we are in the flat booty era for WWE Women's Wrestling, all right? Because, listen, I don't know what happened. I know how Ric Flair looks. I ain't never seen the mama. But, look, hashtag no junk in the trunk, okay? Put
No
the strap
comment.
on. Put the strap on Naomi. I'm sorry. Put the strap on Naomi. Put the strap on Natalia because baby's got back. Okay?
I want to comment on Naomi, though. I think Naomi.
I'm not afraid.
Naomi's in the ring, but
Go ahead, Rez.
sorry, it cut out. I didn't know he was talking.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna comment on Naomi. I think she's good in the ring. I think her promo work, like her mic skills, are just kind of fall flat for me. But I mean, in ring, she's
We'll
good.
get to Naomi because she appears later on in the show. Let's get into that Y2J Miz segment. See, I was hyped to talk about that. What did now, Greg? What did you think of that segment overall?
I'm going to tell you, okay? I saw the student and the teacher working masterfully together. Couldn't tell who was a heel between Y2J and Miz. All I know is that each one of them wants a piece of AJ Styles. I see a triple threat match on the horizon at Fastlane or Mania, but I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Real quick before I kick it to Rez, I don't think Miz wants any of that again. Because if you saw SmackDown, you saw what happened to Miz's teeth. I don't think Miz wants that back fist again for talking that. I just thought it was perfect because of the moneymaker thing. I loved it. But Rez, what do you think? You see a triple threat coming for these three, or do you see Jericho, AJ staying one-on-one?
Okay, well, let me just start off by saying Miz over-exaggerated. It's not like he knocked the whole tooth out. Miz still had part of his tooth, so, I mean, it's not as bad as they said. Going towards the promo they had, Miz has always been a good heel, and I'll take nothing from him. But Jericho clearly, he's a veteran, heel or face, but he clearly surpassed Miz in that segment. Like, Miz started it off strong, and then when Jericho came out with the highlight reel, I laughed, but it wasn't like like out of spite. It was like I didn't know they would go with the highlight reel. I kind of thought they were just gonna keep it on Miz TV, but I'm glad that they brought in the highlight reel mid segment because that was just genius, and to have them go back and forth was great. It's heel versus heel. That's it. Go, Greg.
Yeah, that I like that segment overall, how it ran basically. They did a good job basically setting up everything. I still think it's going to be Miz, not in the picture. I think he's just the in-between man for both of them. I do see a one-on-one at Fastlane. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you like this, brothers. I thought that Y2J's appearance was hurtful to Miz. I'm going to tell you why. If WWE is going to move forward, they got to stop bowing down to these goddamn part-timers. I'm sorry. Everybody knows my love for Y2J is documented. All you got to do is go on my Facebook page, my YouTube, or my Instagram. You'll see pictures of me with dreads rocking the Jericho with the Triple H, Lemmy, okay? When I had dreads, I would wear them, wrap them up top like Jericho when he first came out. I have much love for Jericho. Jericho loves Fozzy more than he loves the business. And that's okay. He's earned the right to do that. But you gotta stop letting Jericho body people with these cheap one-liners and then disappear, okay? He could have hurt the New Day, all right? When he called them trap queens, that could have really disrupted their movement. It was funny as hell, but it was disruptful to their movement, okay? It was. Now, you got to get used to Miz TV. How can you get used to Miz TV if you always have these other old guys coming in? I mean, I remember before, God bless Roddy Piper, okay? I'm a Hulkamaniac for life, okay? Even if he hates me, I'm a Hulkamaniac for life. But I'm going to tell you something. Roddy Piper hurt Miz. When you're in your goddamn 60s and you put money on that you'll kick somebody else's ass and you interrupt. See, WWE is old school in a bad way. They think by Miz showing respect to Roddy, it helps. No, it hurts. What if the Miz planted Roddy's face in the goddamn ground and won that match? You know what I mean? It's a waste. If you need Miz to be that heel, let him be that heel, because he's a heel that you can hate just off of his real life shit. I'm like, the dude bangs Maurice every time he goes home. Okay? She quit, married him, and so every night when he goes home, it's like, pourquoi? And you can't take that away from him. That's better than a WWE championship. That's a reason to hate him. And if he talks about that, like, listen, I don't need to have WWE championship, okay? I'm living the dream, okay? I'm Daniel Bryan without the percussion. You know, I got a real wrestler as a wife. You know, he could do things, but nobody gives him the guts and testicular fortitude or the leeway to say those things. That would be awesome in light of what happened.
I think Miz messed up a long time ago, and I think since then they knew not to push him. It went back to there was a spot with R-Truth, and he blatantly did not catch R-Truth, and R-Truth could have hurt himself real bad. I think they've been done with him ever since then, so now he's just played this mid-card role. There's someone who backs the Miz who has power in that company, but I think Vince and them are just like, nah, he's not the guy anymore. We gave him his chance. He did well, but
I never knew about that. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Forgive me for interrupting, but I never knew that happened. From what I heard, R-Truth and Miz were in the like, they were in the shit room because of the pay-per-view with them versus Rock and Cena getting low sales.
Yeah, that all happened during that time, so that's why I think Miz got kind of pushed down. So did R-Truth a little bit, and they weren't pushed as hard after. We got to keep it moving, guys. Next segment was Bray Wyatt defeating Ryback. Rez, I'm going to let you start because I know you're a big Bray Wyatt fan. What did you think of the segment, and what do you think of Ryback's new Goldberg-esque gear?
Look, I know Goldberg is, he's got the streak, and, he was just fed, like, however many people, and that, that's how the streak came to be. But I liked Goldberg a lot, and I was indifferent on Ryback. I mean, I don't like Ryback, but I was kind of indifferent on his old attire, which was very, very Rob Van Dam-ish. I just felt like it didn't fit him. That attire kind of strikes me as like, you're kind of like a high flyer. But seeing him come out with like the Goldberg-ish attire, he has already been called Goldberg so many times, and it's just like you want to break away from that and not embrace it. So I felt like that was just kind of dumb. Clearly, Bray Wyatt was going to win, just based on like his in-ring skill. Ryback has been kind of a jobber as of late, so it makes no sense for him to win in that match, especially when you have like the Wyatt family in the background. There's just no way. It was kind of weird how Bray didn't do any sort of like promo on the mic beforehand, but his promo afterwards was just like all his others. Were great.
What do you think, Greg?
Again, Omega, I respect your mind as a fan for this. When it comes to Ryback, I aggressively disagree. Ryback, much like Dolph, is extremely misused and abused.
I think Ryback could have had his moment back when he feuded the CM Punk, but
You and everybody with a brain believe that. We
I
all
think
believe because Ryback should have been the second coming of the Ultimate Warrior. And I don't like to put that on the new guys, but the truth is the truth. Okay? My oldest son, we would play wrestle. Okay? And I knew he would watch wrestling and look at things when I was home. But I had no idea until one day we were playing, and I let him play hit me, and I act like I was on the floor, and he starts going, feed me more, feed me more, you know? And then when I get up, he steamrolls and clotheslines me. I'm like, he has that effect on children. He has that effect on adults, okay? Ryback is being misused. And he's one of those working guys. I don't know about the CM Punk junk with calling him steroid guy, you know, and he doesn't look from his build like a guy who uses steroids. However, I feel like, much like you, he should have won the strap from CM Punk, and the streak that he had never should have been broken. But the damage is done. Then you have Ryback and all the other goofy shit. How do we fix it? And that's my question to you, Omega, because, you know, you have the insight. How do we fix Ryback's situation? How do we get Creative Control to understand?
Before he gets to that, can I just share two quick things about Ryback?
go ahead.
Number one, I work somewhere where I can see the wrestlers. I'm in Buffalo, New York, if anyone didn't know. And I've seen Ryback come through, and Ryback was the very first wrestler once I saw come through, and I was on the night shift at the time. And Ryback came through, and basically there were some kids waiting for him. And EJ Manuel was also coming through at the same time, and I thought the kids were waiting for the Bills players, but when they saw Ryback, that's who they were waiting for. And I was like, oh yeah, wrestling's in town tomorrow, and I was going to the show, and then all of a sudden they were like, Ryback, Ryback! And Ryback looked so tired, but as soon as he saw those kids, he was like, hey guys, what's up? And he took pictures with them and everything. Ryback is a great person for that. And he seems like a very nice, genuine type of person just from his speaking abilities and everything. But my second point was that I was going to disagree with was the CM Punk Ryback thing, which I will get into booking later on. But that was a lose-lose situation either way you went with it. And I felt that WWE had to go with Punk in the long run. And I will leave it at that. Rez, I'll let you respond and then we'll move on.
All right. So, in my opinion, so I don't know his real name, but I will say this: the actual person, like not his gimmick, not Ryback, but whatever his real name is, the real guy is a good person. But I feel like Ryback, the gimmick, I feel like he should be more heel, and I think he would do better. I liked him as a heel. I don't really like him as this face, oh, I'm the big guy. It's like there's tons of big guys. Look at Strowman, look at Rowan, look at Big Show, look at all these guys. Like, you're not the biggest of them all. I mean, you're big, but you're not the big guy. It's like his in-ring ability is kind of I don't want to say mediocre. I mean, I think he's good for his role. But I think I want to see more out of him. But I think he should definitely be a heel again. I think that was kind of his sweet spot. Go on, Greg.
I gotta let you say this, and I'm gonna run and take a quick bathroom break. if they don't get it together, Ryback he's gonna become the Lex Luger of WWE. Please agree with me.
I see him more as like the Big Show kind of. I mean, he just gets worse and worse. If they misuse him, if they use him right, he could legitimately be like a dominant force in the WWE. But if they keep misusing him, I feel like he's gonna end up like the Big Show, where he's kind of stuck in limbo and they don't know what to do with him. Is he gonna be heel? Is he gonna be face? What is he doing?
Yeah, I mean, Ryback's such a tough person to deal with, or the way to put it. I don't think he's at that Lex Luger level with popularity, but Ryback is someone who could do some things if you put him in the right spot. He falls into that category of Wade Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus. All these guys should be all main eventers and in a better spot than they're in. And it's because of how they were booked throughout time that people are just like, I don't care. You know what I mean? So it's real tough to say with that. I'm gonna move on, Rez, to the next segment real quick. We got Adam Rose defeating Titus O'Neil. That's what I have next to this. I wasn't feeling it. And where's Tyler Breeze? Why'd you bring him up? I'm gonna ask that every week. Why'd you bring Tyler Breeze up? Rez, what'd you think of the Social Outcast and Titus O'Neil match?
Hashtag need the breeze. So I'm going to say the Social Outcasts are good. Heath Slater is he's found his niche in like the jobber kind of group, but he's good at it. He's good at playing someone who takes those L's on a weekly basis. Titus O'Neil could be great. I think his moveset is really what hinders him. He doesn't really do a whole lot. It's more of the side, like the backbreaker, whatever you call it. I feel like Titus could be better, but the Social Outcasts have more going for them, so I feel it was okay for Adam Rose to pick up the victory. And I don't know what this radical mongoose crap is, but that's just silly. I mean, I guess it's expected from Social Outcasts.
Yeah,
But,
I don't know what that was.
But I don't know. I think out of all of them, Heath Slater has been the good front man of the group, but I think it's all about Bo Dallas. When he was Bo Rider, that was like the greatest segment ever. I feel like he should get more time than Adam Rose and Curtis Axel.
Yeah, and I don't mean, when I say this stuff too, I don't mean any disrespect to Titus O'Neil. I'm sure he's a great guy. I just prefer him in the primetime players. I think that he was doing well as a tag team wrestler, and he still has a lot to learn in the singles role. Greg, do you have any thoughts about Adam Rose versus Titus O'Neil?
There's a fun thing.
Would you put Russell Crowe against Tyrese? Listen, this is my take on it, okay? It's stupid. Titus O'Neil is Batista dipped in milk chocolate, and these idiots just don't get it, okay? I know it's mean, but it's the truth. Adam Rose is a good dude, okay? He's a very good dude, but I'm sick of the Russell Brand nonsense, okay? I'm tired of him being booked as an athletic version of Katy Perry's ex-wife. And I meant to say ex-wife. Now, I'm sick of the primetime players, okay? And I'm going to tell you why I'm sick of the primetime players. If you're going to go primetime players, then primetime players should be some guys that are really about that life. Because we know the other dude,
Darren Young,
knows about something different. So play him up in a singles. You know what I mean? I can't remember his name now.
it's Darren Young.
What's his name?
Darren Young.
Darren Young.
Yep.
I think Darren Young should compete for the WWE Championship. It's
I
racy, but it needs to be done, and it would say a lot. And hey, people are sick of John Cena. They're not sick of the black John Cena for some reason. And that Darren Young said that, you know? So my thing is they need to give him the singles push. Titus O'Neil, if they coronate Roman Reigns, I could see Titus being one of those guys that challenges him. You know, but they haven't been successful with those type of guys, you know. I mean, where is Ezekiel Jackson? All right, nowhere to be found. You know what I mean? Titus O'Neil, the only reason they haven't released him is because he buys homeless people dinner every couple of months when the holiday shows up. They feel some type of way about letting him go because he's a fan favorite for that. Hate to say it, but it's the truth.
yeah.
Um,
No, go ahead.
Look at
Go
what
ahead.
they did to Archer.
Yeah. Now I will say this while we're getting on it. I think that was the next segment anyway. Was the R Truth Goldust? I like that pairing. I know it's just Booker T Goldust PG esque, but I think R Truth does good work, and I don't know how much longer he has with WWE before they transition him to another role, maybe, or before he's doing something else or making appearances on his own. But R Truth's done a pretty good job, I feel.
Well, may I drop a bombshell on you while I eat my cheese sandwich, sirs?
Sure.
When R-Truth was in TNA, he and I became friends on MySpace.
Damn.
His wife contacted me because I reached out to her. He told me he was a PM Dawn fan, and we had great conversations. And I'm only relaying this on your show first because I feel some type of way about it, you know? And the reason why I feel some type of way is because of this. We were cool up until he told me a week before, hey, yo, Doc, man, I think I'm signing to WWE. I said, are you going to be Ron the Truth Killings? No. What are you going to be? I can't talk to you about it yet. He voiced some of his frustrations with the business, how African Americans aren't properly represented and things of that nature. And I respected it and understood it. And after he debuted his R-Truth, number changed, all this stuff, and I was like, Jesus. I mean, I wasn't going to beg you for tickets. I just wanted to be your friend and watch you do incredible stuff again. Because remember, he came into the game as Kid Quick with Road Dogg. Remember? Getting
Kid
Rowdy,
Remember?
2002. I remember it. I still got the theme music. So, K-Quick, that was his name, K-Quick. And they changed it to R-Truth. And I'm like, that's another one that WWE's elephants in the room, the biggest stupid thing they do, thinking the audience is so goddamn dumb and we don't remember these people when they first present them to us. I still remember that bastard Mordecai.
No comment.
Yo, real talk. I still remember this stuff. You can't pull it by me. I've been watching it since Superstar Graham was the champ. You can't pull it on me. So my thing is with Booker. See, look at that. Without even thinking, I said Booker T. Goldust. I wonder why. Talk about a rehash of a decade ago. Only now he thinks Goldust is trying to get at him and break up his marriage, where Booker T was like, hey, me and this big gold freak, we're going to get the gold. Now, can you dig that, sucker? And I'm like, it's a rehash. I'm not cool with rehashes.
I mean, I think it's okay between R Truth and them. We'll see how it turns out. Last week it was presented that maybe it's a way to bring Cody Rhodes back in, kind of a sneaky way to do it so that you think you see something's happening, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what, I can't be your partner, man, because I'm married, blah, 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 whatever the funny joke's supposed to be, but I do know someone who should be. And then he brings Cody back, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I didn't think of something like that. I thought that was nice.
Um,
It could be done. You could dance around it if you wanted to, is my point. Let's move on here. So we got Alberto Del Rio and Rusev. I guess they're still the League of Nations. They defeated the Lucha Dragons. Rez, what did you think of this match? What do you think of the Lucha Dragons and Kalisto as the U.S. champ and League of Nations?
Okay, I have a few different points that I want to make. League of Nations sucks. Let's just get that out of the way. It sucks. Sheamus is good in ring. I like his gimmick when he won the title. Del Rio, he came back in. It's cool. He beat Cena. He became U.S. champ. But I like that Kalisto won it off him. I didn't like how they made Kalisto lose the U.S. championship like the week after he got it. But I did like that he won it back again. When I think of Kalisto, I see, based on like how his mask is, I would say Kalisto's mask looks like Ultimo Dragon's mask, and the man himself is kind of like a Rey Mysterio. But that's not saying all. That's not saying all luchadors are all the same, because Sin Cara and Kalisto are a good team. I feel like League of Nations just needs to stop. How many times have we had a tag team with members from different parts of the world? We've had it so many times, and it just needs to go away. The match I wasn't really invested in. I didn't really care for it. But yeah, I feel like they just need to stop with that stuff. But it's kind of hard to bring Rusev back and make him a good character when he also had an undefeated streak and then he lost to Cena. People can say all they want, like Cena, he ruins other people's characters, but ultimately Rusev's character wasn't even that intricate to begin with. So Rusev is just, I feel like they should just bring Rusev back after like a short period of time of being away and just give him a different gimmick. Del Rio, I liked more when he was more than like the aristocrat. Now it just kind of seems like he doesn't really have a gimmick, so to speak. It's just kind of Alberto Del Rio being Alberto Del Rio. It's not like the arrogant, cocky Alberto Del Rio that we've had before, which was way better. He also needs to take time speaking, because when he speaks fast, people don't know what Del Rio is saying. And I know like Mexican wrestlers like to speak Spanish and English in promos, but he just talks too fast and he throws in the Spanish at awkward points. I don't know. I don't feel like they're doing that great. But definitely keep pushing Kalisto. Sin Cara just came back. It'd be nice to see him do something too. Maybe down the line, after Kalisto has a good U.S. title run, maybe have a feud between Sin Cara and Kalisto. Maybe Kalisto, he's on the bigger, better things. Maybe he drops the U.S. title to Sin Cara, because Sin Cara's been around for a while, but he hasn't really done anything. It'd be good to kind of give him that push too. But I'd like to see them do something different with Sin Cara as opposed to Kalisto.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Greg.
Okay. Do you want to go first, Conrad?
No. I've got nothing to say on this. This was an okay match. I'm past it. Go ahead.
Omega, as I told you before, I have a lot of respect for you. Okay?
We're all fans just sharing opinions.
You think for 35 seconds that those guys deserve an ounce of respect for what they've been doing. We should turn this cell phone up sideways and stick it straight up your candy ass. Now listen. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm just joking. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay.
Uh-huh.
We all know that Rey Mysterio is pissed off with the Lucha Underground, and he's coming back.
Triple A. I'm not gonna let anyone poop on Lucha Underground here.
I'm sorry. I flubbed. Look, I never said I was perfect. Okay. And I don't want to reveal the sponsors for tonight's episode because you made me promise not to. I could if you let me, but I'm not going to do it. You want me to do it?
No, go ahead. Do your thing.
All right. So back to the Steel Reserve podcast. But anyway, but listen. Here's how it goes. I like Kalisto. I don't care for Alberto Del Rios because I don't like the way creative goes, okay, we changed our minds. We're not going to put you with Zeb Coulter. Now we're going to do this. And they think the fans are stupid. They'll just buy whatever we give them, so don't worry about it. And I'm sick of it. They gave us the odd couple, and it turned somehow into Three's Company with a little dash of a male version of Living Single. That's how the League of Nations felt, and it was stupid. I'm like, how does Wade Barrett go from being the king of the ring to the cosmic king with Stardust to the League of Nations? It just makes no sense. It's like it's the equivalent of Derek Fisher running the Knicks and running from Matt Barnes because he's trying to kick his ass for tapping his wife. It's like, what are you doing? You're all over the place, man. Stay in one area and do one job. That's how I feel about the situation. Now, Omega, I respect what you're saying about Kalisto. Sin Cara, not as injury prone as the original, nevertheless injury prone. It's time for Sin Cara to go sayonara. Okay? Kalisto is obviously the star. And maybe the reason why WWE won't be so welcoming of Rey Mysterio back to the business on the big top, the main event. So, you see, if WWE had a brain, you see the culture of what's going on right now, okay? You saw the very arrogant and over bravado-ish Cam Newton get toppled by an aging Peyton Manning. You saw LeBron, the king, get his head chopped off by Stephen Curry in the finals and in multiple regular season games this year. He's only a 5-footer. The time couldn't be more perfect for WWE to switch and have a shock like Kalisto become World Heavyweight Champion. But that would be daring and courageous and intelligent thinking, which is something that Creative Control does not have in World Wrestling Entertainment. But this is the time to do that, and they won't. And I think Omega would like to see that, and I think people would like to see that because it would generate more income for them in the long run, because now you have kids and people who choose not to abuse drugs in the weight room like myself, and go, hey, I could be WWE champion. I'm slightly taller than Kalisto. You know what I mean? These things could work out. More realistic than those garbage Rey Mysterio title pushes that only occurred because his best friend passed away. No disrespect to Eddie Guerrero, but it is what it is.
See, I don't like people taking away from Rey. I think Rey was a tremendous athlete overall when he did it. I think it was met with resistance, though, because of his size and who he was. So I could talk both ways on that one, to be honest. Were you done with your point, Greg?
Yes. I mean, I just wanted to hear what everybody else thought about it. But all I'm saying is, and I respect what you said, dude. I'm not taking away from Rey. He did a lot of good stuff, especially with Batista and his first push. Like when he kicked that cage door in the Batista's head, very realistic. However, I feel like the time has come and passed for Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I think Ray is definitely a Hall of Famer. I think Ray is going to be better off in that legend role. Maybe you bring him back for one Raw in the Blue Moon, but I don't think you need him on the regular roster anymore. He's not needed.
I got 2 words for you. Tough enough.
Perhaps they could use him for it. He'll tell you about the gritty streets of Mexico when he was 14 when he started going pro. Next match was Tamina.
Broken. Put him on Televista. We'll call it the Broken Midget Ranch. There you go.
We'll move on to Tamina versus defeating Becky Lynch actually in a solid match. I was surprised Tamina got the win here. They were doing a lot of teasing with Naomi and going back and forth with Sasha. Can I just say Sasha Banks looked fine too during this segment? Yeah, thumbs up, Sasha. You were looking fine during the segment. I don't know what it was. There was something a little different about her. But Tamina gets the win here. Rez, what do you think about Tamina getting the big W? Rez?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
what did you think of Tamina getting the victory over Becky Lynch?
I think Tamina should have been pushed a long time ago as the dominant force in the Divas or in the women's division. I hate the Divas. Title too, but in the women's division, I feel like she could have done way better. She's been like someone who could be actually taken seriously. This match, I didn't really care for. You knew it was just going to be a gateway for Sasha to team with Becky. Although I think Becky and Sasha are good enough on their own that they don't need to be a team. Naomi and Tamina, I think they're just kind of stuck in limbo where WWE doesn't know what to do with them. I think Naomi was in a better team when she was with Cameron in the Funkadactyls, even though I hate that name. I think that was a better team than Tamina and Naomi. It just sucks that Cameron fell so far down, but I think that was a way better team. This match, it was a solid match. I just didn't think that there was anything special about it. You knew what was going to happen. You knew Sasha and Becky were going to team. It was very iffy for me.
Yeah, I've noticed a second feud in a lot of the Divas. I'm sorry to say it, the Divas matches or whatever you want to call them is because of Total Diva. So you saw they tried to play off the family element, putting Tamina with Naomi. Oh, you date my cousin, so we're going to be friends and we're going to team up. I get it. They wanted to send Cameron back down because she wasn't ready and stuff. I do like that the fact that Becky Lynch and Sasha are teaming up. This, to me, seems like it's going to lead to a triple threat match more so now at WrestleMania. But, Greg, what did you think of this match?
All right. I'm going to lay it on you, and I'm going to address it from the beginning. You guys are overcritical of the Naomi Tamina thing. All right. First off, I think for WWE, I got to give them credit. I think there's a tremendous amount of pressure to keep Tamina on the roster. Because let's address the elephant in the sexy room. She is the daughter of a soon-to-be convicted murderer who should have been in jail 20 years ago. Okay. Now, adopted, nevertheless. Okay, and she is also the sister of one of the goofy maniacs in Deuce and Domino. Now, my take on this is this. The fact that the Usos, Tamina, and Naomi are allowed to lurk around the roster, I believe are a direct link to the contract of how to keep Dwayne Johnson happy. They're all family. Now, I don't like the fact that the Usos are in the title hunt when they really don't need to be. And we all know one of the Usos got hurt no matter how they try to sell it. Now, back to the women. I'm glad that Sasha Banks is gone. She didn't need to be with them. She didn't need them in the first place. Snoop Dogg had a working history and relationship with World Wrestling Entertainment. which is what got that little girl, his cousin, into the fold. But she's talented and she worked her way up. You can't take nothing away from her. She didn't need to be in Team Bad from the jump. The whole thing with Bad, PCB, and Team Bella, it was all ridiculous and stupid from the jump. They should have been individuals. They were trying too hard and chalk it up to WWE, copying off of TNA, and they've been doing it ever since the beautiful people were ripped off by Simply Flawless.
I got to put my hand up. I blame John Cena. I don't care what anybody says. John Cena was protecting the Bella Twins in that whole ordeal of having those teams together because Nikki Bella was one who benefited the most from having those three stay as teams. To me, it made no sense. I was like, why would you do that? Yeah.
I agree with you.
I want to say something after.
Go ahead, Rez.
Okay. Naomi and Tamina, I think it should be, if they were going to have a team with Tamina, I feel like it should be a different wrestler. I would love to see Tamina and Nia Jax be a team. Can you imagine the terror those two could unleash? Those are two big women, and they're strong as hell. They would tear down the women's division, no problem. Nia Jax is doing pretty good in NXT, and Tamina just needs someone there that could help her, help elevate her. Tamina's been lowest of the low for a long time, and I don't know if you've seen the table for three with Natalya, Tamina, and Charlotte, but they've talked about how they should be doing better. Well, not really Charlotte because she's on top of the division, but I would love to see what they said, where they said have a triple threat between Tamina, Natalya, and Charlotte. That would sell so much. Let's just make it happen. They want it. Let's do it.
Yeah, overall, though, I like it. We're going to see where it leads up to. We're going to end up getting back to these ladies later on anyway. Next segment was the Usos and the Dudleys teaming up in a table match to defeat New Day and Mark Henry. Ooh, are you giving the snore sound? Greg, go ahead, kick it off.
Very predictable. We all knew that the New Day was going to piss off Mark Henry, all right? I knew they were going to get the sexual chocolate in him to shake his ass for a couple of minutes on a promo, and then he comes out. The only thing they didn't do that I thought they would do, I thought they would snuff Mark Henry after they won.
Now, we all know who won the match. The Usos and Dudley's team won the match. Rez, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think of the Dudley boys turning on the Usos and putting the beat down on them afterwards? I didn't see that coming.
First of all, I want to say Mark Henry was Hall of Pain, and then he fell to being the side cake to the Team Unicorn, whatever you want to call him, New Day. So, Hall of Pain to being a unicorn. It's horrible. It's as far as the Usos and the Dudleys, Dudley should have won the titles long ago. New Day is still very, very entertaining, but I feel like as entertaining as they are, their title reign is kind of getting stale. They need to lose the titles, and I don't want to see them lose it to the Usos because the Usos are good in the ring, but everything else is just kind of lacking. Whereas the Dudleys, they still have it. And when they approach the Usos and saying, hey, this may be your match, but this is our match, like the tables match is our type of match, I loved it. And the way they turned on them made me strongly consider that it may be, maybe like a triple threat tag team, or maybe just the Dudley boys take the number one contendership, and they'll face the New Day again. But the only thing I hope, though, is that if it's the Dudleys versus the New Day, I would love to see the Dudleys win because as long as the streak as the New Day's had, they need that fuel for the fire to keep them going. Right now, they're just doing a bunch of shenanigans, which they've always done, but they kind of need a reason. They can't just keep going on Michael Cole's, weekly interview and sticking their asses in his face. Like, that's funny, but they just need something else to kind of fuel them.
Rez, I'm going to disagree with you, man. I love New Day, and I think New Day are the top of the tag division right now, and I think they need to keep the titles. The New Day have done an amazing job, and my basic point is with this, what I want this to lead to is another kind of triple threat tag match, I think, at Mania, or you can throw a fourth team in there if you can find someone to make it work. And I say you do a TLC match. It's the perfect place for it. You could have all the teams in there. The Dudley Boys will talk about how they've been in it. They know what to expect. They know what's going to happen. This will give Usos that tough guy reputation that I think they're missing. They need to show that, hey, we're tough too. We can handle a couple bumps, and hopefully no one gets injured in it. And the New Day, everybody's been waiting for them to get their comeuppance. So they get away with a lot.
If you have the TLC match, man, you should totally throw the Lucha Dragons in there. Because that last TLC match was great. Kalisto had some amazing spots. But, yeah, the triple threat tag team is a good idea. I fund it.
What do you think, Greg?
Omega, once again, I love you. It would be an honor to kick your ass in WWE 2K16.
Bring it on.
All right. However, DRG of PM Dawn, baby. However, you leave them lucha bastards out of this match, okay? Because all that lucha, those little arms will get broke, okay? They need to be on little people WWE. I'm being honest. But, I'm saying, I would rather see Alberto Del Rios and Sin Cara in the tag team.
Okay.
Let the homie turn on Kalisto and make him a full-fledged face in the singles competing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love what you guys said about the tag team stuff. I'm sick of the Dudleys. I'm sick of the botched moves, all right? Either give them the straps so they could be the most decorated tag team of all time and let them get obliterated by the New Day at Mania. But the Dudley Boys versus the Usos without tag team titles on the line is a useless feud. Period.
I think with it they're using this to plant the pieces for Mania. That's just me.
Okay.
I just think that's what they're setting up for. I think it's just all, let's put the pieces in place. Let's get people where they need to be. Similar to the Dean Ambrose calling Brock Lesnar back out and then giving him the low blow that happened also during the show. Similar. I think they're just trying to put everything in place for Mania to get everything how they want it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so stupid to have Roman and Dean in the same fight.
We'll see. I think that's there. I think that's there for protection, though.
I mean, what's going to happen? So what happens if it goes down to, is Seth Rollins going to get involved and screw somebody so Triple H can remain the champ?
No. I think what is happening is Dean Ambrose is there to take the fall, but in the meantime, we're going to make him look like a tough guy. Bray Wyatt, I think, is going to interfere and get his feud with Brock, and Roman's going to get the win over his fallen friend. And this is going to eventually lead to Dean Ambrose is going to turn on Roman. That's my thoughts and predictions for it. But
so they can resurrect the Mega Power beef.
Basically, I think it's going to be, we were best buddies. I always was there to help you. You weren't there to help me. You screwed me over when it was my turn to get a chance at something. You didn't want to make everything right for me. You know how it goes. The usual garbage.
But it didn't work for Ryback when the Shield screwed Ryback with the CM Punk match. So why would they try to rehash it a third time?
There's no history between Ryback and when they tried to do that with the Shield. To me, the Shield is, I'm going to say something that's very controversial. I think the Shield is the best three-man faction that I can definitely say that WWE's ever done, but I think they might be the best faction in history. NWO and them are neck and neck, in my opinion.
Mr. Cushman, okay?
I'm
Obviously,
going.
you're smoking the four letters of your the first four letters of your last name. So demolition never existed. Is that what you're saying to me?
Are you referring to when it was Crush, Axe, and Smash, and they were jobbing out to people from New Japan on WrestleMania 7?
That's right.
I don't think that they were a dominant enough faction. I'm looking at main event picture. I'm talking the Shield went out there every single night, and they, no matter who they were in a 6-man tag match with, they put on a hell of a match. It didn't matter if it was Daniel Bryan, Kane, and Ryback, or if it was Sheamus and whoever you wanted to be. They went out there and they kicked behind, I'll say, and they did what they had to do week in and week out, and that's why all three of those guys are stars. And Roman picked up and learned from all of them during the time, which is why the group was formed.
If that's what you're basing it on, I gotta back out. Give me Omega. I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
Sure.
But I gotta back out. I gotta defer to his opinion. You go, Omega. I love you.
See, I think they benefited the most. I'm talking about the Shield here. I think they benefited the most when they fought three veterans in Evolution, Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton, because those three, they've been main eventers. They've held multiple titles, and who better to have them face the Shield? You know, it's like the Shield learned so much from all the different opponents that they had. And I agree, they're probably one of the better factions that we've seen. The NWO, they had a faction, and it was great, but it got too big. And, you know, the train wreck that WCW became. DX was good, but it was pretty much just Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and then the other guys were also good, but they weren't nowhere near the star power that, you know, two had. Whereas when you look at the Shield, Rollins, Reigns, and Ambrose were all pretty much the main. There was no definite main guy out of the three. It was pretty much you look at all three and you're like, okay, I could see them all in the main event. Like, sure, they've all got skill, but they're all different though. They're not like, oh, here's this faction. We're all just kind of the same, you know.
Yeah, that's why I love the Shield. I love the whole gimmick of it. And some people get mad when I say that about the NWO, and that's no disrespect to Hogan, Hall, and Nash. I'm not saying the NWO didn't sell the most T-shirts and that they didn't change the business. That's not my point. I'm just saying that the Shield went in and had great matches every night. I'm not trying to disrespect any of the other 6-man. I love Demolition. Don't get me wrong. Demolition should be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm going to say that again, damn it. Demolition should be in the Hall of Fame. Go ahead, Greg.
Say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
You have the right to disrespect the NWO because they were a bunch of pussies who had creative control, and they couldn't hang with some of the new talent. You got to give that type of respect because, you know, they crushed a lot of souls when they were doing what they were doing in World Championship Wrestling, whereas the Shield did not. And I will always respect all three members of the Shield. I will go as far to say I respect members of Nexus for the same damn reason. You understand?
Yeah, Nexus just didn't make it as far. They got crushed. Is what hurt it. What hurt them.
But Wade Barrett has been misused as well. And so when you talk about the Shield, I'm glad they got what they got. I'm glad the CM Punk had the balls to put them over. Who knows? Maybe Seth will get better. Maybe we'll see a triple threat match for the belt at SummerSlam with all three members of the Shield.
I would love that. And before we move on to the final segment, I want to say this. This is going to be the bridging gap between it. The Shield I think the Shield. I remember this SmackDown. It was the Shield. They were in some 6-man tag with Daniel Bryan and Kane. It was the first time they lost. I don't know if you guys remember it. That's the only thing I remember about it. And it may have been Randy Orton was the Team Hell No's partner, but that was the moment when I said Daniel Bryan's becoming something. He did that tope to the ground, and people went nuts. That was the first time I saw like the camera shaking again, like the Attitude Era. That's when you know the match is hyped because the camera is shaking from people going crazy, and all I saw was yes, 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 and it was just one of those matches that it was like, man, that was sweet. I love it. That's how they should end every wrestling show. Which brings us to the sad conclusion of the show, which was the retirement of Daniel Bryan, man. Which really hurt because a lot of people think that this is just some dude who showed up in 2010. Real wrestling fans such as us, I know Greg has, we've heard of Daniel Bryan since 2000. Daniel Bryan was known as the best wrestler in the world who WWE couldn't get their hands on for some reason because he was like, no, I'm going to go to Japan first. You saw him on Velocity once in a while, but other than that, this kid was amazing. And the main event segment was real cool. I'm going to breeze through it real quick. He was basically humbled, which is the best part about Daniel Bryan. Real nice guy. He got emotional talking about Connor. He got real emotional talking about having a family with Bree. Even had a little funny moment in there when he said, "Yeah, Bree says that all the time," and then that's what she said. Chance and yes, Chance broke out. I love Daniel Bryan. Just a good guy overall. And
Clap. That's what she said. That was awesome.
It was. Real quick, guys, I just want you guys to touch on the main event segment because the next thing is going to lead into Daniel Bryan real quick again. So what did you guys think?
That was the tables match, right?
No, with the
Are you
Shield.
talking about?
Which match are you talking about, Rez?
I forget what the main event was.
No. That was the main event match. I'm on Daniel Bryan and his speech.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Daniel Bryan's speech was really good. It's everything I expected it to be. You know, he pandered to the fans. You know, he paid respects to Connor. Everything about it was spot on. I feel like with Daniel Bryan's retirement, you know, if other doctors said he could compete, I feel like, you know, if he wants to put his body on the line, you know, he should be able to. It's his body. He can do whatever he wants. But WWE is playing it safe. You know, they don't want to see him get hurt anymore. And Daniel Bryan finally came around into agreeing with that. But Daniel Bryan is definitely one of the best wrestlers. When I think of Daniel Bryan, you know, and you guys might give me a lot of heat for this, but I feel like Daniel Bryan is the Chris Benoit of today's generation. And what I say by that is not the whole family, whatever thing that Chris Benoit did. I'm just speaking from a wrestler's point of view. Chris Benoit was one of the most technical wrestlers, and he could do anything in that ring. Same with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan in this generation, he could do anything. He was technical. He could put on a great show, everything. And their finishers, the yes lock and the crossface, they're both very, very similar, which is why I make that comparison between the two. But Daniel Bryan has always been a great performer from day one. It just sucks that he had to end his career so abruptly. WWE will probably keep him under contract, and I think he will. This is just my guess. I think he'll enter the Hall of Fame this year in a similar fashion that Edge got into Hall of Fame after he announced his retirement. I think Daniel Bryan is the shoe-in for Hall of Fame with Sting this year.
Go ahead, Greg. You wanted to respond?
Let me say something. First of all, as much as I love Omega, I could slap you so hard that your head will bump into the lamb's head on the left side of you on your avatar. I'm joking with you, but what I'm saying is this. Stop comparing dope technical wrestlers in 2015, 2016 to Chris Benoit, okay? We need to move past him. We can't keep ignoring what he did to his family, allegedly, just because Our Lady of Peace made dope theme music for him. Okay?
I'm
Now,
just speaking about his wrestling prowess. I'm not talking about the actual things Chris Benoit did. I'm talking about from a wrestling point of view. But go ahead.
I respect it. I respect it. And Omega, forgive me. I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying that,
No
there's
offense.
dudes that were dope that we need to start addressing. But when you talk about Daniel Bryan, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Chris Benoit, on his best day, wishes he was Daniel Bryan. It's a new breed. I know Conrad's looking at me, but it's a new breed of wrestler. You have to accept that, okay? Roger Starbuck could never be Aaron Rodgers. Okay? You could respect him because he came before Aaron Rodgers, but he is not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the evolution. And when you talk about Daniel Bryan, I stay as far away from Benoit. I resonate to Bob Backlund. But that's me. I'm a New York dude, and I feel like I see more Bob Backlund and Bret Hart in that dude than I see Chris Benoit. And so it hurt me. I watched it with my 3-year-old son, who is a Daniel Bryan fan. You have to understand, he was born July 5th, 2012, okay? Because his mother was an idiot, and she could choose between July 4th and July 5th. For whatever reason, she chose July 5th instead of Independence Day. He was born on that day. And within 7 months of his life, before he could walk, before he could say a full sentence, he learned how to say, yes!
Looked like he got dropped real quick from the call, but
Oh,
Daniel Bryan is definitely a beloved character and everything else. We're gonna keep it moving. Basically, Rez, I want to know favorite Daniel Bryan moment, match. What's something about Daniel Bryan that you're like, oh, this was real awesome. I love this.
first off, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you see him as a potential Hall of Fame inductee this year, along with Sting?
I hope not. I will say that, and here's why. I don't like guys going in too early. I felt Shawn Michaels and Edge were two guys who went in too early. I don't think it was time yet. I want those guys to miss the business a little bit, and that night when they get paid their respect, that they're like, hey, those guys were good, man. Remember Shawn Michaels for this, and this. Shawn Michaels will never get that moment again.
I'm back. I'm back. I got thrown off. I'm sorry. I got thrown off some type of way, but I fixed it. Here's the deal.
Hold on real quick. We got to Daniel Bryan moments and matches, and we're discussing Hall of Fame. I was just basically saying how I didn't like people getting inducted immediately after their retirement and stuff. Edge, same thing.
Yeah.
Felt like I didn't get a chance to miss Edge. It was just like, all right, well, I'll see you when you're back, Edge. That's how I felt with it. And it was just, I don't want to see it happen, but I can see it as a possibility, I will say. But
you should wait 5 years like the NFL. There should be a 5-year wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to see them get a physical Hall of Fame building as well and actually have legitimate voting between like shareholders or a group within the company that pick who goes in, so that there aren't omissions that, like demolition or someone's personal vendetta isn't in it. Because to me right now the Hall of Fame is just Vince McMahon's fantasy world, and you're on some website and you get a ring. Not to disrespect WWE, but they got some work to do to make that Hall of Fame legitimate still. But Rez, I want you to finish your point. What Daniel Bryan matches or moments do you want to remember him by? What's some of your favorite?
I love the Team Hell No thing. Those are like the segments that I really enjoyed. But as far as matches, anytime Daniel Bryan and CM Punk laced up their boots and fought each other, those matches were just magical. It's probably the best
Amen.
matchups I've had were Daniel Bryan and CM Punk.
We all thought that would be the WrestleMania 28 main event. Could you imagine if they would have went that route instead? Oh, amazing it could have been.
Amen.
Been insane.
Greg, same question. Favorite Daniel Bryan moment and match?
Okay. I'll tell you my favorite Daniel Bryan moment. The speech he gave about being a self-made man. I want to say another favorite Daniel Bryan moment was winning at WrestleMania 30, coming back a year later, winning the Intercontinental Championship after he shook and hugged the Ultimate Warrior the night before he passed away. That means a lot to me because Warrior and Hogan mean a lot to me. All right. And the other thing that means a lot to me when you talk about Daniel Bryan, the fact that he galactically sucked when they were pushing him in that, which Brie Bella twin loves him. He truly worked his way from shit to be great. You can't take that away from the guy. And I held my 3-year-old in my arms and I wept. I cried while this man retired last night because he's my 3-year-old son's favorite wrestler. And the whole time I was crying and thinking to myself, what if Hulk Hogan had to say, the doctor said I gotta quit now, brother. I mean, we all would have been done. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I agree. I also want to say that I blame his retirement solely on the Authority, because if the Authority didn't give him so much crap in their feud and put him in so much risk, that Daniel Bryan would probably not be retiring right now. The whole feud with the Authority.
Omega, I'm not dissing you, but that's not true. That man had wrestled quite a few years, at least 12 years before he got to World Wrestling Entertainment. And like he said last night, he had many a concussion and a bump and kept going. But the main event in WWE is the first one that said, look, goddamn it, we want you to have a life. F a career, we want you to have a life. You got to give him credit for that. Because...
I'm not knocking him for that. I'm just saying that the Authority was probably a big part of hindering Daniel Bryan's late career, just because they put him through so much. Especially the 2 Mania was just a little bit excessive, although it made the moment of him winning the title mean way, way more than it would have if he just did the triple threat. But I think the Authority had a hand in that.
I disagree with you, and only for this reason, brother. I disagree because I feel like Daniel Bryan being pushed was out of spite because of the Colt Cabana podcast with CM Punk, where they exposed the bullshit that WWE is all about with Triple H and Vince and the firing on the wedding day, and we want an A-plus player / big guy. So to spite CM Punk, they put a guy of equal physical stature in the main event. Right. That was supposed to hurt him, and they did not succeed. So I feel like he capitalized off of WWE's stupidity to try and irk CM Punk, Phil Brooks. Mm-hmm. That's my personal opinion. Doesn't have to be right. It's just what I feel like. It doesn't take anything away from Daniel Bryan. It's just that he was that hot son of a bitch, And when Batista won the Royal Rumble, we weren't fucking buying it.
No, I agree with what you said. I agree.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm going to give mine since you brought up your matches and moments. Real quick, some things that I thought of with John Cena. For a moment, my favorite Daniel Bryan moment has to be, I got two. One was the NXT segment with Michael Cole where he said, I could out-wrestle you. And he basically gave Michael Cole the business because Miz was his mentor or whatever they were called then. And he basically laid it out on the line and gave him the business. I love that segment. And he basically let people know who he was and what he was about. I love so many Daniel Bryan matches too from before WWE. I'm just focusing on the WWE stuff. The Occupy Raw. I love that because it was a movement that was happening current times. To have all those fans come into the ring, not that that could ever really happen, but just to see the visual of that many people wearing his shirt and they're not leaving the ring until you put that man in the main event, and they were like, okay, we'll do it, and Triple H got upset. It was just a great moment. And for matches, I wrote down a couple of things here for him. That just things that I remember about him. The match with John Cena at SummerSlam 2013. That was a great build-up moment until they had Randy Orton take the fun out of it for us all. But it was a great heel move to turn someone.
I didn't like that. And they rehashed it at Survivor Series this year. Wouldn't you agree with Roman?
Absolutely. Here's why I like it, though. I look at things afterwards in the long run. If Daniel Bryan losing that made it even better. That's where, to me, the authority angle started. Like, we didn't want you as the champ. Triple H set him up. And from that point forward, he could never get the belt back. He could never be back on top because they didn't want him to. And it was just an amazing moment how it all happened that way. It was just a great story. In the end, because it worked out. That wasn't their plan, but in the end, it worked out. The WrestleMania 30 triple threat match and the match with Triple H was awesome. I got the CM Punk matches down. Team Hell No versus The Shield in any combination. Connor the Crusher, if you haven't seen that new segment, that will bring tears to your eyes if you YouTube the original segment. When you watch it, I get goosebumps watching it, like, because it makes you hurt for that kid, and you have to respect what Daniel Bryan did. And he was different because usually they're like, oh, we don't want you to wrestle at home. You know what occurs and you know what happens. And Daniel Bryan letting him put him in the yes lock and having fun, and he got to go in the ring. Everyone loved that kid. Great moment. And Daniel Bryan, we loved all the matches. We loved the Ring of Honor matches. You were a tremendous talent. And I just wanted to say thank you for all your wrestling ability, and you are the American Dragon, the best wrestler in the world. Guys, we're going to move on to the next segment. I got to keep it moving for tonight. We're going to go round robin one time for all of these segments. WWE producer Road Dogg Jesse James addressed 50-50 booking on his Twitter, saying, and I quote, wins and losses don't matter. Greg, do you agree or disagree that when you watch wrestling, wins and losses don't matter?
I think Road Dogg is full of shit. He's a recovering addict who says what he had to say to keep his job. I don't respect him as a booker, as a father, as a friend, blah, 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 etc. Wins and losses do matter. And if people in sports entertainment think they don't, their heads are far up their anal cavities. Wins and losses matter, okay? And I hate to sound like Prince, but like books and black lives, wins and losses matter. And I'm saying that for the simple reason that you can't tell me that the reason why we love Ryback when we hate the shit out of him is because he keeps getting his ass beat by people he could beat the fuck out of in real life. And we're sick of it.
Rez, same question. Do wins and losses matter to you?
They do matter.
Thank you.
They do matter because if you look at my photo right here, Bray Wyatt, that's a prime example. They keep making him lose the big fights, and he admit heel force, but they just keep having him lose so many matches to the point where people probably don't even care anymore if he becomes this major character. That's just one example, but yes, they do matter. Like um, Reigns losing the title or whatever. It's like he won it, that matters, but he lost it to Sheamus right after. That also matters. You can't tell me that Reigns winning the title doesn't matter because Sheamus just cashes in. It's like that just takes everything away from the people who win. And then you also have people who just lose on a regular basis. It's like the fans just start to not care for people who lose all the time. But you can't have someone lose consistently. But then it also depends on the story, which is a whole different factor. But yeah, they do matter.
And I'm just gonna go real quick and last and say this. Road Dogg, I understand that you're a company man. I'm glad that you are healthy. I love the New Age Outlaws. I even like With My Baby Tonight. But I will say this, Road Dogg. I challenge you then to, since wins and losses don't matter, I challenge you to go up to Vince McMahon and tell him how you're going to book Jack Swagger to beat Brock Lesnar. All right? I want to see it. Since wins and losses don't matter, I want you to do that. And that's no disrespect to Jack Swagger. I could have put anybody's name in there. But since the losses don't matter, everyone should be losing then. But it doesn't work that way, Road Dogg, because no, that's not the way it's going to happen, and that's just how it is. And I'm not attacking Road Dogg. I think he's probably really good at his job, and I know he's going the company line. But if anyone back there who's high enough thinks that, you are incredibly wrong to say wins and losses don't matter. And like Rez said, that man in his picture, Bray Wyatt, is the perfect example of why they do matter. We're gonna go to the next segment. We're gonna talk some NXT real quick. Rez, I'm gonna run through what happened. Basically, we had some releases. Bull Dempsey, Sylvester Lafort, and Marcus Louis all released. Real sad about Bull Dempsey for the most part. The other two, take or leave. But Bull Dempsey, I thought was a good guy. Sad to see him go. And I didn't know who the other two gentlemen were who were released. What do you think about Bull being gone?
To be honest, I didn't care for Bull. Like, I didn't really catch a lot of him, but I caught a good amount to know if I liked him or not. The first time I saw him was when he came out to the ring and he was eating food nonstop, and then the backstage segment right after where Regal was confronting him saying, hey, you need to take better care of yourself. You can't have superstars doing the things that you're doing. That right there, yes, it's very sloppy for him to be, just indulging in eating and stuff. But it's like the business, I get there are a lot of like big guys, you look at Typhoon, you look at One Man Gang, those were some big dudes. But in this day and age, you got to have somewhat of a physique. You can't be Brodus Clay, because clearly that didn't work. So when they did the whole bull fit, I get that the name kind of, makes sense, but you can't deny that he's still a big dude who just looks like he doesn't work out at all. There's no fit part of that.
I will say this. I did like that Bull Dempsey did have a different body type and different look to him. He reminded me of a Bam Bam Bigelow type more so, that he looked different. No offense, we can't have 20 Rybacks and we can't have 20 Daniel Bryans. We can't have the same amount of people. You got to have diversity within the roster, basically.
Well, I think it's his gimmick because, again, you can look at Bray Wyatt here. He's a big guy. He's not all muscle, but look at him. He clearly knows what he's doing. He's doing pretty well for himself despite losing a lot. But it's like you can make big guys like that work. Bull Dempsey, in my opinion, just did not work. Whereas Bray Wyatt,
Bull Dempsey was winning though until he faced Baron Corbin. I think too was what hurt him.
No, you know what I joke about, and I say. The thing that killed Bull Dempsey's career is jobbing to Alex Riley.
Oh yeah, that could be part of it.
Alex Riley is awesome.
I'm gonna run through right now what happened with that. with that, gentlemen, I want you to give me, I want just one thing. You don't even have to tell me why or the reason, but while I run through this, think of who you would build NXT around after Finn Balor. Who is your main guy that you would want it focused on?
Joe.
We had the Vaudevillains defeat the Hype Bros. Carmella defeats Emma. Enzo Mori and Colin Cassidy defeat some local competitors. Asuka beats Santana Garrett. And NXT champion Finn Balor defeats Apollo Crews, which is probably the only match that I would say you have to go out of your way to see. It was an excellent match. I definitely see big things for Finn Balor and Apollo Crews when they get up to the main roster. All right, Greg, we're going to start with you. If you have to build NXT around one guy, who are you picking?
All right. So, first, let me
You're cutting in and out, Greg.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go because I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm gonna drop something on your show about me that I haven't dropped to the world yet. Yesterday, I was diagnosed with suffering a stroke.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Did not know it, but you know I love you and I'm here for you because you're my friend. Now I'm gonna say this: if you're gonna go by who to build NXT on, Sami Zayn. All right? Because the Finn Balor's, the Samoa Joes, they need to have their asses on the main roster to save WrestleMania 32. And I don't know if WWE is smart enough to realize it, okay? Could you imagine the Muscle Buster on Brock Lesnar? It would be incredible.
I agree with that, Greg. Rez, who would you build NXT around after Finn Balor once you move on from him?
I would say Joe, but despite the fact that clearly he may go to the main roster soon, I'm just going to not say him. But I think it'll come down to either Sami Zayn, like Greg said, or I see Apollo Crews definitely fitting that mantle. Those are the two.
I disagree.
What'd you say, Greg?
I said I disagree. Omega, I got to tell you, I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why. All right? I'm a black guy. You're a black guy, right? Omega, I don't know what you are.
I'm white.
Bray Wyatt and a lamb. Okay.
I'm white.
So, all right, so you look like a lamb. But anyway, so here's the deal. Apollo Crews looks like Terry Crews, the actor, the comedic actor / former NFL player. I didn't like when he lost to Baron Corbin, and I damn sure don't like when he loses to anybody else. Not because he's black, but because I'm sick of the fucking moonsault finish and everything. He needs to be more powerful. But that, I guess, will come in time because that's what he's about, right?
Absolutely.
Now,
it's supposed to be developmental.
Yeah, I love both of you guys. I'm going to cut it short because I'm having
Yeah, you're cutting in.
Physical complication. I don't want to show them.
That's all right. That's all right, Greg. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on. I'll give you a shout out at the end. I appreciate you, brother. Take care.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Love you too, brother. Thanks. Yeah, I definitely agree. I do like who you said, Rez, who you would build around. There's many different ways you could go, and I will say this for anybody who's watching. The NXT card that is happening before WrestleMania is bonkers. I'm not going to spoil anything else. The card is bonkers. And when you see what happens and what unfolds over the next few weeks, I don't know everything that unfolds, but I saw the card, and it's crazy. And you guys are going to go nuts for it. And before we end the show, real quick, Rez, I just want to get Fastlane build-up thoughts. What do you think right now of how everything's building up?
Things are looking good. I think that main event with Reigns, Ambrose, and Lesnar is going to be outrageous. My prediction for it is uh, Lesnar. Lesnar's going to be damaged quite a bit, possibly to a double team by Reigns and Ambrose because they know that Lesnar is a force that either of them can't take on by themselves. So I see them double teaming Lesnar, taking him out of the match for a little bit. If that doesn't happen, I foresee Reigns possibly uh, missing a spear and instead hitting Ambrose with a spear just to build some heat right there. Because despite them being brothers, they can't be a team all the time. Something's got to give, and I think Ambrose's finisher is just not capable of doing it. I see either Ambrose eating a spear, or I just see Lesnar taking out Reigns, and then Ambrose may take a cheap shot at Lesnar and then pin the downed Reigns, after a spear or something. I don't know. Uh, the Divas match, I can go either way, but I feel like Brie Bella is just going to lose just to keep the thing with Charlotte going for WrestleMania. Other than that, I'm not too sure of any of the other the other matches on that card.
They're still kind of building the card up too slowly, so there's a couple matches on there. Nothing's even positive yet for a lot of it. Let me see here. I'm pulling up a quick list of the updated cards and site. There is a U.S. title match as well on there, and the tag match.
I don't feel anything for the U.S. title match.
Kalisto and Del Rio again. It's like,
yeah, we already saw that twice, and by this point, I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's just a match, and Kalisto will probably win, even though it doesn't matter who wins, because we've already seen this twice.
Yeah. Overall, though, I think Fastlane's okay. I still wish they didn't have a pay-per-view between the Rumble and Mania. I just kind of wish it kind of disappeared quietly. I don't think you need it. I think it adds more controversy to things. I don't know. Maybe you could use a Saturday night's main event or something there and just have some big matches on there if you need to. But let's see here. Overall, though, it looks like it's going to be a great show, hopefully. It turns out. I think the triple threat match is going to show up. That's the main match everybody wants to see. And Rez, I'm going to kick it to you real quick now before we end the show. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give? Anything you want to plug, promote?
Shout out to Greg. Having a stroke is definitely it's something you don't want to have. Didn't even know that. It's first time meeting you, sir, and it's been great. I like the conflicting thoughts, but it's all good. We're just fans. We're talking wrestling. Shout out to Bala, who couldn't be here because he wasn't asked. But I'd love to do some podcast with any other members that have been on. I've watched every episode, and they've all been pretty good. I look forward to being on here even more. Yeah, you can just find me on Facebook, .com/Omega_Rez. That's pretty much it.
And I also want to give a big shout out to Doc G, Greg. Thank you for coming on and doing the show once again. I greatly appreciate it. I'm sad to hear about the stroke. Never good news to hear that. And also, like I said earlier, the Sala Monster, same thing. Got some bad news on his podcast this week. Definitely check him out if you could. Go to Pro Wrestling Tees store and help him out. Let's get him let's buy some shirts. He's got a lot of cool shirts up there that you guys would love to wear when you go to wrestling events, whether it's indie stuff or anything else. Daniel Bryan, thank you once again for all your hard work in the indies and everything you did for WWE as well. I hope to see you still around in some capacity still, making appearances. And Rez, I want to thank you for being on the show, brother. It was great to have you on. I love having your different opinions and stuff on there. basically, guys, if anyone who watches this video wants to be on, you want to be a future guest, contact me on Twitter at Conrad Cushman. It will be in the description box. And if you got a different opinion or a different view on things, let me know, and we could definitely make something happen. We need more guests on the show, so we're more than welcome to have that. And I got a big guest lined up that I will probably announce next week. And
Nice.
Sign up for our Facebook group. That'll also be in the description. I want you guys talking more wrestling. I want to see some topics going on in there. We're just wrestling fans. I'm not here to attack anybody. Everything's been cool so far in the group, so it's a closed group. Check it out and sign up for it. And this is episode 5 of Everything Pro Wrestling. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you share the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Do you agree with our views, disagree with some things? I want to hear from you guys. So once again, I appreciate.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
All right. I just want to tell everybody. All right. And this is really important. First of all, Conrad Omega, I love you guys. Thank you for having me on your forum, because it's your forum, not mine. I know I like to joke around and everything and do extreme stuff, but I'm going to say something that's really cool, all right? I was having problems since New Year's Day with my right arm and the top of my right pedal foot, which is, you know, all of our pedal foots when we drive. Turns out, now they're running tests on me because they said I had a stroke. I don't have diabetes or anything, but if you're going through any type of little bit of stress or whatever, don't be ashamed to get checked out, because it's not an old man's game. It's an every man's game. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you're going through some type of tumultuous situation, whatever it is, divorce or anything else, get yourself checked out. All right, because this is something that a lot of men don't realize, and you could be hurt. Because I humbled myself and got checked out, I am here to talk to you and do this wonderful podcast with you today. I will get healthier, I will get better, and I believe in professional wrestling as a sport. I believe in the fans. I believe in you guys as friends and colleagues. And I just wanted to say that professional wrestling isn't dead. We have to approach it from a new angle. Kayfabe is a thing of the past, thanks to websites like 24wrestling.com, etc. So it's up to us, and it's up to the way we teach our children to love professional wrestling, and it's up to the WWE to do the right things, because the people they had running the show before are gone. And we need to step up, and they need to step up and do what we can to put out a better product. That's all I'm going to say. And thank you, Daniel, because your work helped me to bond with my young children. And you are their Hulk Hogan, and I will always love you internally for that. And damn right, go make some babies and have your own memories. You deserve that. I'm done.
Well, folks,
Good words.
I appreciate both of my guests again, Doc G, Greg, Omega Rez. I appreciate you guys coming on. Guys, this is episode 5 of Everything Pro Wrestling. Once again, please check out everything in the description. There's links for everybody in there. Just make sure you guys check it out. Leave the thumbs up. I appreciate it. And I love everyone who checks out my videos. Thank you, and have a good one.